A bachelor party puts four friends in a dystopian world where Hollywood cliches are punished. In 2213 AD, Hollywood is punished for their lack of creativity, so they must offer tributes to a public arena where they'll fight to the death in the Hungover Games. 2 centuries before that time, Bradley, Zach, and Ed gather for the bachelor party of their friend Doug. They arrive in the room but are horrified to see how unclean it is. Still, Ed insists on looking at the bright side as Doug found his soulmate. Zach likens his relationship to Katniss and Peeta from the Hunger Games book, but Bradley is sick of hearing him talk about it. Offended, Zach brandishes the supplies he packed for their party, asserting that he won't share them with Bradley. While Zach pops in an air freshener for the room, Ed tosses out his bag, refusing to use his fun candy since it always ends with them losing track of someone. Ed doesn't want any risks tonight, so he brings his friends to the rooftop, all suited up except for Zach, who's wearing a straitjacket for safety. With their non-alcoholic drinks, Bradley offers a toast to Doug and a night they'll never forget. The next morning, however, Ed wakes up completely hungover in a different room littered with bottles and messy items. He also finds a man in a scuba suit taped to the ceiling. He accidentally steps on Bradley, who also doesn't know where they are. Looking around, Ed is horrified to see remnants of what they might have done last night. While the two are bothered, Zach wakes up happily. Hoping to leave, they look for Doug when a flamboyantly dressed woman suddenly arrives. Uninterested, Ed tries to leave, but when he opens the door, he discovers that they're inside a moving train. Recognizing these events, Zach excitedly calls the woman Effie Trinket from the Hunger Games, but she corrects him that her name is Effing. She confirms that they're on their way to the games as they've been chosen after their courageous gesture. To see what she means, Zach shows his phone to the others, where there's a video of them going crazy at an unknown location full of solemn people. On the screen, Effing was choosing a tribute for the games, but the drunk friends volunteered. As their friends process what's happening, another man appears, and Zach calls him Hey Mitch. However, he introduces himself as Just Mitch. Tired of this, Bradley insists that they have to find their friend and leave. Just Mitch notes that their brotherhood might win them sponsors and advises them to listen if they want to find Doug. He adds that one might even get out alive if they're lucky. Their TV starts playing the Capital Sports coverage of the Hungover Games, where hosts Temple Smith and Bayflick discuss this year's contestants, which includes them as the representatives of District 12. Bradley checks his watch and notes that they have 48 hours to take Doug to his wedding, so the trio is determined to win. Soon, they're at the Tribute Training Center, where contestants practice their skills in front of the sponsors. Being a fan of the Hunger Games, Zach is serious about training and earning the sponsors' attention, though their current ranking is particularly low. Few contestants eye Ed for being weak, so Zach advises him to show them that he can take a punch. With that, the two spar and Zach easily beats his friend up. This impresses the others. Wanting to prove he's tough, Ed moves away and tries his strength against a punching bag, but it hurts his knuckles. Just then, he meets another tribute, Catnip, who suddenly kisses him. However, he doesn't remember her, so she reminds him that he promised to go district hopping with her before he left last night. A bird starts complaining about their awkwardness, declaring itself a talking jay as it mocks Ed. Bradley and Zach arrive, and the latter is amazed by the talking jay. Bradley then asks Catnip about Doug, but she doesn't know where he is. Instead, she gushes about how brave the friends were for volunteering, which inspired her to take her sister's place in the games. When Zach implies being interested in her sister, Catnip shoots an arrow into the apple he's eating, impressing them. Finally, the tributes are taken into their rooms, where they'll be raised into the arena. On their way to their room, the friends search for Doug. In District 11's room, they spot someone being raised but can't tell if it's Doug. They ask the female tribute, Boo, if that was Doug, but she just insults them. An officer hurries them to their room, but Zach accidentally knocks over a cup of boba tea on a control panel. Still, they're raised into the arena, where they face the field where there are supplies and weapons. When the games start, the tributes hurry to take their weapons and supplies, killing those that get in their way. During the bloodbath, Ed desperately searches for Doug while Zach happily records a video of the events. Plenty of tributes are executed, but there's still no sign of Doug. Ed spots Catnip and is suddenly allured by her beauty. However, Thor starts wielding his hammer, so he and Bradley run off. They stop when they find the stuffed bear, Ted, messing with Django, but he defends that they're in a battle to the death, so there's no hate. When he goes for the kill, Ed and Bradley are horrified, so they escape. After finding a quiet spot to rest, they're surprised by Bao, who claims to have been with them last night. Hoping to find answers about Doug, they ask him what happened last night, so Bao excitedly recounts how connected they were during the party. This disgusts the two, and Bao just leaves. That night, Ed and Bradley hide over some tree branches and find the team of Johnny Depp characters lighting a campfire. However, Tonto betrays his comrades and joins another team who kills them. After that, the allied team set up camp, unaware that Bradley and Ed are just above them. To the two's surprise, Zach joins the team. When he steps away, Tonto and Scary talk about ending him, but Ted reminds them that they need Zach to find his friends. Hearing this fills Ed with anxiety. By morning, Ed is awakened by Boo slinging rocks at them. She points out a hive above them, instructing them to drop it onto their enemies below. As Bradley climbs up to it, Timple Smith and Bayflick tell their viewers that the hive is a swarm of swagger jackers, genetically engineered wasps that drain swagger with their sting, which could become lethal. With that, Bradley saws off the branch from which the hive is hanging. He gets stung a few times but manages to drop the hive. The enemies immediately panic and run while Zach sleeps it off, unbothered. Due to the stings, Bradley gets dizzy and falls off the tree. Ed quickly runs after him while also getting stung, and Zach finally wakes up. After getting away, Bradley and Ed try to recover from the stings, but they're still hallucinating and become drowsy. As they sleep, Ed dreams about catnip but gets interrupted by visions of Zach. Because of this, he wakes up in a panic and finds that Zach has moved him and Bradley into a cave. Zach explains that they've been asleep for 2 days, and he's been nursing them back to health. He was also stung, but he had no swagger for the wasps to drain, so they didn't affect him. Bradley recalls him joining the others, so Zach excuses that he was peer pressured but didn't really want to hurt his friends. He also points out that he made up for it by healing them with the swagger bomb that he got. Just then, the Real Housewives of District 8 find them, and the group enjoy some time together. Scary suddenly arrives and starts soaking the woman with gasoline. She laughs as she sets them on fire while the men escape. Meanwhile, the head game maker, Chineka Lame, is summoned by Capitol President Snowbama. The president worries that the people seem to care about their contestants when they're only supposed to be a distraction from their awful sequels, remakes, and spoofs. When the audience starts to care, ratings go down, so Chineka promises to get it under control. In the arena, Ed worries that Doug is already dead, but Bradley argues that they can't cry about it and do nothing. They only have a few opponents left, so he urges them that they can win. Just then, Zach decides to reveal that the air freshener he plugged into their room before was Midnight Berry from the Hunger Games novel, which is apparently poisonous and lethal. This enrages the others, and when Zach fishes out another freshener from his bag, Ed points out that the label warns that it may cause transportation to a futuristic dystopia. This means Zach is the reason why they ended up there, so they leave him behind. Heartbroken, Zach heads in the opposite direction, unaware of a woman disguised as a tree nearby. After reporting to her team via radio, she chases after Zach. When Zach reaches a clearing, he spots 2 beautiful women in a tub. However, he's more interested in a blue Na'vi from Avatar. While he relaxes in the tub with the women, Chineka's voice booms around the arena, announcing that contestants of color will be granted special consideration. Hearing this, Zach asks for some privacy with the Na'vi woman, but Tonto and Thor confront him. Zach tries to be brave but dodges when Tonto brandishes a revolver, which kills the Na'vi. Thor then poses to attack Zach, but Catnip and Boo arrive, shooting arrows at the enemies. They kill the beautiful women from the enemy team, so Tonto and Thor escape. While people from the control room watch the scene, their computers suddenly power down. Bao arrives to fix things instantly, and Chineka immediately dismisses him after he's done. As Chineka thinks of a way to get their ratings up, Just Mitch appears and suggests giving the districts a story to sell some bromance. The game maker actually considers this. Meanwhile, Bradley and Ed find a spile pouring water from a tree. After having nothing to drink since arriving, they immediately go to it but notice that it tastes like blood. Suddenly, Chineka announces to the arena that multiple victors can be crowned if they survive and share a long-standing bond of exceptional bromance. This means the 4 friends can get out alive, so Bradley and Ed hurry to find Doug and Zach. As they go, Ed wonders if the game makers pick whoever they want to win since they can change the rules anytime they want. Bradley dismisses this as a plot hole. Recalling Zach's book, he remembers how the characters whistle to birds to find each other. They try it out and end up with a talking Jay, who tells them that Zach is with Catnip. With its help, they reunite with Zach's team. When Ed looks for Catnip, he finds her without her jacket on, making him stare. After she gets dressed, rest, Bradley recognizes Boo, so he demands her to tell them where Doug is since he supposedly arrived at the arena from her district. Catnip convinces Boo to tell them, but Thor suddenly arrives and ends the younger woman with his hammer. Spotting Boo's slingshot, Ed takes it and strikes Thor, defeating him. Afterward, they mourn Boo while Catnip covers her body with flowers. The group then gives her a salute, which the audience from the districts and the hosts from the show mimic. When they leave Boo's body, Chineka announces a feast with something the contestants will want. The group hurries to the field, where the guys see a cell phone for them to call Doug's fiancée. However, Catnip points out that there are landmines around. Just then, they watch Scary evade the mines to take the knives left for her before rushing away. Catnip goes to leave as she's more interested in killing Tonto. Ed tries to convince her to stay, but she honestly explains that she thinks they'll ruin her plans. Still, she confesses her love for Ed before hugging him goodbye. Determined to be the brave one for once, Ed hurries to the table and fetches the cell phone. To his horror, however, Scary is there and telekinetically throws blades at him. Before she can go for the kill, Zack grabs Scary and throws her down, defeating her. This freaks his friends out, but before they can do anything, the Muppets arrive with Ted to fight them. As Zack throws the Muppets away, they land near a mine, so he throws his book as well, triggering the bomb and thus defeating them. Meanwhile, Ted is about to hit Ed with a steel bat, but luckily, Catnip sends an arrow at him. To his horror, however, Catnip is badly wounded from her battle with Tonto, so Ed hurriedly tends to her. Catnip assures him that everything is okay, as one of them needs to die anyway. Ed bravely claims that he wishes it was him, and she quickly agrees but takes it back. As she draws her last breaths, she gives Ed a treat and tells him that she'll see him soon enough. After she passes, Ed realizes what her statement means, wondering if he's next to die. He returns to his friends, and they decide to make the call. Bradley uses the cell phone to call Doug's fiancée, Tracy, to give him the bad news. During this, Ed rants about their misfortunes and blames Zack for most of them. When Zack admits that their party went down the tubes, Ed suddenly recalls that before they got on the tubes to reach the arena, his friend spilled boba tea on the control panel. This makes him realize where Doug is, so he tackles Bradley before he can tell Tracy what happened and assures the frustrated groom that they're picking up his fiancée. After ending the call, Ed leads his friends to the platform that never went up. When they look in, however, it's empty. Disappointed, Bradley rants about accepting their ill fates when a patch of a bush starts approaching them. The bush then yells at them and pushes them into the tube, revealing himself as Doug. His friends are happy to see him, but Doug is furious at how they always forget about him, like on all their other trips. He rants that he's not even in the trailers or the posters of the movie. He then loads an arrow to take vengeance, but Ed stops him, admitting that they're nothing without him. This appeases Doug, so he helps his friends climb back up. With that, the four friends huddle up, celebrating their reunion. However, their reunion is ruined when Chineka declares that they're backtracking on their previous rule change, so they must fight until only one is standing. After hesitating for a few seconds, Bradley, Doug, and Ed rush to get weapons. They aim at each other and try to reason why they should live. Zack then comes between them, reminding them that they're friends. Instead, he presents them with midnight berries as a way to get out. He assumes that the capital can't afford to have no winners, so they'll stop them from consuming the poisonous berries and let them win together. Convinced, Bradley and Doug agree, forcing Ed to join in as well. With that, they all take the berries and pose to consume them. However, nothing happens, so they end up eating the berries. One by one, they collapse, thus ending the games. To their surprise, they wake up in their hotel room with Zack still in his straitjacket, allowing them to head to the wedding. While waiting for the car, Doug expresses his appreciation for his friends, noting that he definitely should have more lines in the next movie. Finally, they arrive at the wedding, and Tracy is furious that they're late. Doug quickly explains that the last 3 days have been the messiest experience of his life, but all he could think about was his fiancée. This appeases Tracy, so they prepare for the wedding. While taking a break, Bradley insists that whatever they think happened wasn't real, but Ed is certain that he had a connection with Catnip. When he heads to the ceremony, Ed bumps into a woman who looks like Catnip, stunning him. During the ceremony, Ed keeps pointing the woman out to Bradley, who refuses to patronize him and advises him to let it go. The pastor then reveals himself to be Chineka and tells the guests, "May the odds be ever in your favor."
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.